This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 27th day of January in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley, thanking you for joining us. Here's what we're tracking tonight. As the High Court prepares to move ahead with the election petition case, the Chief Election Officer Keith Lowenfield today handed over all of the original statements of poll and statements of recount to the Registrar of the Court for safekeeping. The move comes under order of the Chief Justice Roxanne George, who is presiding over the election petition matter. The attorneys for Vice President Barbara Jagdeo had requested that the court takes possession of the statements, as it was nearing the date for them to be destroyed in keeping with the law. At the courthouse today, Mr. Lowenfield spent several hours as he handed over the documents and verified all that was being handed over. He said the Guyana Elections Commission Secretariat has made copies of all of the documents handed over for its own record keeping.
The law is very clear as to the duration that the CEO is to hold these records. It's very clear. However, if the Chief Justice has ruled, then the CEO has to acquiesce to the ruling of the Chief Justice.
Are you keeping copies for yourself or the Secretary? Well,
obviously, I won't give away all that I have. So that's what we're doing. We're pushing to conclude the exercise today. We've already completed all the statements for the general elections. We are currently working on the regional, and as soon as we conclude that, we'll move toward the SORs.
The Chief Election Officer also said that all of the statements of poll and statements of recount for both the general and regional elections were handed over. The chairman of the Elections Commission, Justice Claudette Singh, was also present for the handing over of the election documents. The election petition case is seeking a number of orders from the courts and declarations, including matters related to the lawful conduct of the elections, the recount of the votes, the results of the elections, and the allocation of seats in the National Assembly. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
I'm a lover of dancing since a small I danced the foxtrot. I feel a pain in the foot.
Lymphatic filariasis can be a chronic disease, and left long enough without being treated or identified can cause debilitation. If you're infected as a child, it's there, it multiplies in your system, in your body for years until it actually causes damage to the lymphatic system.
So when it started to swell, I couldn't wear sandal, I couldn't wear a shoe.
The stigma that's attached to them, it's something that's overwhelming.
Yeah, these times your name changed. You're no longer who you are, Bigfoot lady.
When they used to share these tablets, I used to disregard them. And when I know the importance of the tablet, when I got this foot, then when they come around again and give me tablets, I throw down my throat in front of them and say, when I go inside and drink some water.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
R&R Comfort Inn and Guest House is your home away from home. Located at 1277 Central Amelius Ward, we offer comfortable, affordable, air-conditioned, self-contained apartments with high-speed wireless internet access to make your stay luxurious. Whether you're overnighting, spending the weekend or longer, you're guaranteed satisfaction. Our hospitality is second to none. Rent our newly installed deck for your wedding, birthday party, or any other occasion. Call us today on 442-4186 or 672-2035 or 684-9009 for bookings and more information. R&R Comfort Inn and Guest House, where your comfort comes first.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
What if eliminating lymphatic filariasis was as easy as running the 50-meter sprint? Guyana is then well advanced in the race to eliminate lymphatic filariasis, known commonly as filaria. As we are crossing the finish line, let us remember that this chronic infectious illness can survive in our bodies for years unknowingly before triggering health conditions like hydrocele and elephantitis. What we also know from the current global pandemic is that chronic conditions put you at a higher risk of complications when contracting COVID-19. Your best prevention method is taking your filaria tablets during the mass drug administration campaign. This is the step that takes Guyana closer to the finish line of eliminating filaria as a public health problem. A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. The Organization of American States has condemned the actions by Venezuela to arrest and detain 2 Guyanese fishing vessels and their crew. The OAS is demanding the release of the 12 Guyanese fishermen who remain in Venezuelan custody and their vessels. In a statement today, the OAS described the actions by Venezuela as an illegal detention by the country's dictatorship, pointing out that the vessels were in Guyana's exclusive economic zone. In demanding the release of the 2 Guyanese vessels and crew, the OAS said it remains supportive of the rules and processes set by international law regarding ongoing territorial conflicts. According to the international organization, the resolution of the territorial controversy between Venezuela and Guyana is a matter that lies under international jurisdiction and cannot be settled by unilateral actions. The OAS said any attempt to derail the international legal process, such as the recent decree issued by the Maduro regime, is contrary to international law and standards and has no legal bearing or significance. The Venezuelan authorities have moved ahead with filing charges against the 12 Guyanese fishermen who were detained by the Venezuelan Navy as they operated within Guyana's exclusive economic zone. The fishermen are likely to remain in custody in Venezuela for the next 45 days as the country continues an investigation. The government of Guyana has informed its international partners on the latest action by the Venezuelan government. Venezuela continues to claim that the fishing vessels were in its waters, but Guyana maintains the vessels were in Guyana's exclusive economic zone, and Venezuela illegally crossed over into Guyana's waters and arrested and detained the fishing vessels and crew. The Venezuelan foreign minister recently summoned Guyana's envoy to Venezuela to formally file a complaint about Guyana's response to the incident. Venezuela claims that Guyana is interfering in its internal affairs with some of the statements made on the issue. Meanwhile, Guyana continues to pick up more international support against the actions of the Maduro regime in Caracas. The French government, through its ambassador, has condemned the actions of Venezuela. And the government of Belize has also condemned Venezuela's continued hostility against Guyana. And still with that Venezuelan matter, Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Todd met today with the opposition member of parliament responsible for foreign affairs, Amanda Walton Desir. The opposition member was briefed on the recent actions by Venezuela and the ongoing border controversy between Guyana and Venezuela. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs this afternoon said the foreign minister provided an update on the detainment of the Guyanese crew and vessels and the government's efforts to ensure their safe return. The foreign minister also reiterated the government's position on inclusive governance and called for similar engagements from other shadow ministers. Mrs. Walton Desir expressed the parliamentary opposition's firm support on the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy and registered her concerns about the welfare of the Guyanese fishermen who have been detained in Venezuela. The statement said Minister Todd and Mrs. Walton Desir echoed the need for a bipartisan approach between government and the opposition on matters related to the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy and welcomed continued dialogue on the issue. Well, in a ruling that took less than 10 minutes, Chief Justice Roxanne George this afternoon quashed the deportation order that was granted by a city magistrate against a group of Haitian nationals who were detained by the government of Guyana. The Chief Justice ruled that there was a breach of natural justice in the issuance of the deportation order, since the Haitians were never taken before the courts. Justice George also said there was also a breach in their free movement by the granting of the deportation order by the magistrate. She awarded no costs in the matter. Before handing down her ruling, the Chief Justice also dismissed an application to the court by Attorney General Anil Nandlal, who sought to have the matter withdrawn. The Chief Justice said she found it strange that a respondent in the matter would be seeking a withdrawal on behalf of an applicant. Although the Attorney General sought to get the Chief Justice to grant him time to make submissions in writing, the Chief Justice said she was not allowing that, since the application had no merit and was dismissed. She said if the applicant wanted to withdraw the matter, then he should have done so through his attorney. That was never done, as the applicant's attorney Darren Wade confirmed. The ruling by the Chief Justice has brought the curtains down on an embarrassing incident for the government of Guyana. Back in November, the government through the police force detained 26 Haitian nationals one day after they arrived in the country and were granted legal entry by the Immigration Department. The government initially said the Haitians were being detained as suspected victims of human trafficking. But when the Haitians spoke out on social media, making it clear that they were never victims of human trafficking, the government moved to the magistrate's court and got a deportation order for the Haitians. That order was put on hold as attorney Darren Wade moved to the High Court and made an application to quash the order on behalf of the Haitians. While the matter was before the court, the government suddenly released all of the Haitians and gave them their passports, allowing them to leave Guyana at their own free will and in their own free time. Haitians have been traveling to Guyana to make onward journeys to Brazil and French Guyana, which both have large Haitian communities. Attorney Darren Wade today said he's pleased with the ruling of the Chief Justice. He has always maintained that the rights of the Haitians were violated.
The application before the court were clear that the rights were breached, the constitutional rights were breached, the rights to natural justice were breached, and that's what the court would have ruled today. So I'm certainly not surprised by the ruling of the court, because as a trained attorney, I know that one has a right to the natural justice. You cannot make a decision against someone without first hearing from them. And secondly, you cannot arrest someone and keep them in custody for excess of 72 hours without taking them before the court. The law is clear on those points. So certainly this afternoon, I'm not surprised with the ruling because the law is clear on those principles.
Meanwhile, news source understands that a number of the Haitians who were detained for more than 3 weeks intend to file a civil suit against the state of Guyana. A Guyanese staffer of the U.S. Embassy here in Georgetown is among the latest COVID-19 deaths in the country. The 58-year-old man passed away on Monday night in the coronavirus intensive care unit, where he was a patient for a number of days. The U.S. Embassy spokesperson confirmed the employee's death, but offered no other details. The man reportedly worked at the embassy for over 30 years. News source understands that the embassy has once again been forced to scale back its work, with the majority of staffers working from home. The spokesperson would only say that the embassy's operations assessments due to COVID-19 have been ongoing since March of last year and will continue. The U.S. State Department has been procuring vaccines against coronavirus for its embassy staffers around the world. Staffers in Guyana are likely to receive their vaccines soon. The Ministry of Health has announced 3 COVID-19 related deaths within the past 24 hours. The other 2 fatalities have been identified as a 78-year-old man from Region 10 and a 65-year-old man from Region 5. Since the start of January, Guyana has recorded more than 1,000 new cases of coronavirus. Leader of the opposition Joe Harmon today met and held discussions with the incoming British High Commissioner to Guyana, Ross Denny. The new British envoy is expected to present his credentials soon to the president. Opposition leader Joe Harmon described today's meeting as very cordial. He said while he would not want to divulge the details of the meeting and the courtesy call, he confirmed that a number of issues that are of national interest were raised.
So our conversation was very wide-ranging. I would not wish to go into the specifics about it, but to say that the High Commissioner was very warm and receptive to the points which we raised, and he did make some promises to see how best he can be a conduit for information that we put out. I think that the High Commissioner is very aware of the situation in Guyana, and our focus was how best we can bring matters to a point where we can see what is in the best interest of the country. And I think that is what underscored our conversation, what was in the best interest of Guyana and how best the High Commission can be in a position to be able to help in that regard.
The British High Commissioner designate recently met with President Finale and also held discussions with other government officials.
Been through it all.
But as a people, we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
I'm a lover of dancing since a small I danced the foxtrot. I feel a pain in the foot.
Lymphatic filariasis can be a chronic disease, and left long enough without being treated or identified can cause debilitation. If you're infected as a child, it's there, it multiplies in your system, in your body for years until it actually causes damage to the lymphatic system.
So when it started to swell, I couldn't wear sandal, I couldn't wear a shoe.
The stigma that's attached to them, it's something that's overwhelming.
Yeah, these times your name changed. You're no longer who you are, Bigfoot lady.
When they used to share these tablets, I used to disregard them. And when I know the importance of the tablet, when I got this foot, Then when they come around again and give me tablets, I throw down my throat in front of them and say, we're gonna go inside and drink some water.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS Freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
What if eliminating lymphatic filariasis was as easy as running the 50-meter sprint? Guyana is then well advanced in the race to eliminate lymphatic filariasis, known commonly as filaria. As we are crossing the finish line, let us remember that this chronic infectious illness can survive in our bodies for years unknowingly before triggering health conditions like hydrocele and elephantitis. What we also know from the current global pandemic is that chronic conditions put you at a higher risk of complications when contracting COVID-19. Your best prevention method is taking your filaria tablets during the mass drug administration campaign. This is the step that takes Guyana closer to the finish line of eliminating filaria as a public health problem. A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley has announced that the Ministry of Health and Wellness will begin health checks of Barbadians in their homes during the February 3 to 17 lockdown against coronavirus. In a televised address, she said ministry officials would be knocking on doors to survey occupants about their health and checking for symptoms of COVID-19. The Prime Minister said the lockdown, as they are calling it, is pause and a national reset and is going to be necessary in order for the country to give itself a chance. The Prime Minister disclosed that the University of the West Indies and the Ministry of Health and Wellness will be working together to effectively roll out the program that will go from house to house. She revealed that one aspect of the plan is to go into the communities by organizing the island into polling districts. Meanwhile, Motley has urged all persons over the age of 70 in Barbados to remain at home for the next 3 weeks, unless it is absolutely necessary for them to leave to go in search of medical care or purchase food supplies or medicine because of dire circumstances. 3 elderly people have died of COVID-19 in a week in Barbados, bringing the total number of deaths since the start of the pandemic to 10. The country has also seen a sudden spike in new cases of COVID-19 in the past few weeks. Peru has started a 15-day lockdown Sunday in 9 regions in the capital of Lima to curb a second surge in COVID-19 cases. On Tuesday, President Francisco Sagasti announced that Metropolitan Lima and the regions of Lima, Callao, Ancash, Pasco, Huánuco, Junin, and others will be under restrictions from January 31 to the 14th of February. During the lockdown, people can leave home only to purchase necessities and are urged to work from home. Restaurants will only accommodate takeout orders and non-essential businesses will close. A curfew will also be in effect from 8 o'clock in the night until 4 o'clock in the morning, with restrictions on personal vehicular use on Saturdays and Sundays. The president said Peru will keep restrictions for international flights from Europe as well as Brazil, where more easily spread strains of the virus have been detected. So far, Peru has more than 1 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, and the country has recorded more than 39,000 deaths. And finally tonight, international news. People wishing to travel out of the United Kingdom will first be required to declare their reason for travel and prove it is essential, the Home Secretary has announced. The Home Secretary said declarations will be checked by carriers and there would be increased police at airports and ports. The Prime Minister said earlier that UK nationals and residents returning from red list COVID hotspots would have to quarantine in government-provided hotels. But the opposition in the UK said the measures are a little too late. The Shadow Home Secretary of the UK, Nick Thomas-Symonds, said protecting the UK's borders was one of the key areas where the government had fallen short, and he was deeply concerned the latest measures were yet another example of too little, too late. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.